Thank you for joining us today on Joseph James TV. If you're tuning in on our YouTube channel or the Next News Network channel, I would encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already done so. When we first went on the air, I asked each of you to contribute story ideas for a new program. While our editors were able to narrow down the choices, one submission stood out from the rest. It comes to us from Adam Johnson in Los Angeles. He wants us to do a story on the radiation. It's radiation that surrounds us constantly, and it comes from wireless internet or Wi-Fi. The first Wi-Fi systems were developed in the 90s. Now they can be found in just about every American school, home, and office building. Some say the technology is perfectly safe and that it frees us from the clutches of greedy network providers.
We believe that they are far more resistant to breakdown and immune to censorship, and thus better than the architecture we have today, where networks are run by for-profit operators.
Others don't buy it at all, claiming the health risks of Wi-Fi outweigh the benefits. Barry Trower, back in the 60s, was a microwave specialist with the Royal Navy.
Because microwaves then were used as weapons, as they are today. It is a perfect stealth weapon.
Whether Wi-Fi networks are being used as weapons is debatable, but one cannot ignore the fact the very nature of these systems would make that possible. Wi-Fi signals are transmitted on the 2.4 gigahertz band, the same frequency spectrum used in microwave ovens. The reason these radio waves heat food is because they cause water molecules to vibrate. But the average Wi-Fi router transmits just 100 to 600 milliwatts of power. And the World Health Organization says there are no risks from long-term, low-level exposure.
This is just something extraordinary that we are all blessed to participate in.
It may take a year or two, but you can cause neurological damage and cancers with low-level microwaves, and you can make all your opponents sick. It's a perfect weapon for a government.
While there may not be sufficient evidence to prove Wi-Fi is harmful to your health, the World Health Organization at least says a year's exposure to Wi-Fi radiation equals that of a 20-minute cell phone call. We'd love to hear your feedback. Feel free to post comments on whether you think there is a danger. Joining us from Studio B is our producer, Sean Geyer. Sean, what are your thoughts on the subject?
First of all, thanks for having me, Joe. The truth of the matter is the technology really hasn't been around long enough for any of us to know, even those that are studying in the field. And we really need to examine what's going to happen in 20, 30, 40 years from now when continuous exposure to this micro-radiation really tells the full story.
If scientists determine that, in fact, there is a long-term risk from exposure to Wi-Fi radiation, is that going to change the way that you use technology?
Well, that really is the question, isn't it? I don't think that it's going to change how I use it, given so many applications that we have in business, communication. It really is the modern way.
That's all the time we have for today. Please be sure to join us next time and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. I'm Joseph James.